Hello YouTube, and welcome back once again to Delersholid. And would you take a look here, YouTube? We have a book, written by Adam Lucky Misashnish, the Fortress Scholar. A book entitled The Nuanced Dwarf. Let's take a look, shall we? This is a echidna parchment quire. Written on the item is an essay entitled The Nuanced Dwarf, authored by Adam Lucky Beachtrade. It concerns the appointment of the dwarf Adam Lucky Beachtrade to the position of manager of the Bloody Conqueror in the late winter of 1008. The writing is refreshingly witty. Overall, the prose is amateurish at best. Not a surprise, seeing as how it's the first book they've ever written. The first of many books, hopefully. Keep at it, Lucky. Other than that, the fortress is still fairly stable, still trying to clean up that mess from the last siege, and believe it or not, we've done a good job at it so far. This is only a small portion of what's left. On top of that, we still have a ton of stuff down in the lower fortress that we're trying to get rid of, so we got a bunch of work ahead of us. You can see these two temples are starting to come along. Temples to Tomud, the god of war, and Kikrost, the god of fortresses. The temple to Kikrost is fairly straightforward. As you can see, just a couple rows of pews, a statue, and an offering table up front. Still got a bunch of stone to get rid of, and I'm probably going to throw some engravings in there at some point. 2 Z-levels tall, of course. And the temple to Tomud isn't much fancier. Silver offering table, a statue getting put in place, as well as a ring of copper bars, and a stockpile for weapons and armor, in hopes that they'll receive her blessing. Still working away at those. We did a little bit more work on these walls, so they're 2 Z-levels tall in most parts now. Gotta finish up that level, and then do the one above that. But no huge rush. The goblins don't seem like they want to go up there anyways. Somebody made a new artifact. Nothing too exciting, honestly. Orthoclase mechanisms. The mayor, Zuglar, the one that was attacked by a troll last time and had both her forearms destroyed, she was not doing so well for quite some time, but now it seems like she's in a pretty good state, which is good to see. Then we have Einod the Humble, who was attacked by a troll forearm that came back to life. Got a few good whacks in on him. His spine was broken, and one of his legs is screwed up as well, so he's kind of crawling his way along. Honestly, I'm surprised to see him doing this well. He spent a lot of time in the hospital. But he'll be back on his feet before long. And if you hadn't already guessed, I had played a little bit before I even started recording this time, just because I figured I'd get some of that cleaning out of the way. And that's when all that crap happened. But now then, this episode, what are we going to be doing, YouTube? What are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you what. Last episode, this North Hall tunnel was so effective that I don't even feel like we have to be too afraid of those goblins anymore, to be perfectly honest. So I went in and changed the default number of invaders that are allowed to attack your fortress at one time and doubled that, which is going to cause the game to lag pretty horribly when they do arrive, which is not an optimal thing, but we need to start killing a lot of these goblins. And the more that come, the more are going to be destroyed in that hallway there. And the more zombies we'll have to deal with, but yeah, we can handle it. No worries. You can see I also threw a bridge up north, just to kind of block access to this tunnel if we ever want to try out that water trap underneath, which again, I do really want to try out. Now, considering that the number of invaders is going to increase, I think we should do a little bit of something with our military. They did well against those zombies last time, but I don't want to push it too much. I don't know how many more dwarves are left in this world, and I don't want to push it if we're very close to the point of extinction. Moral's Fist is still full roster, which is good, and I don't think anybody has any terrible injuries. The Owls has a space available, so we'll have to find someone for that. And I'm also thinking about bringing in 2 more squads. Just kind of a citizen militia. So I'm going to get that sorted out, just give me a second. Alright, and there we have it, YouTube. 2 new squads. Say hello to the Alehounds and the Dirtbloods. Both kind of irregulars. Not full-time army like Moral's Fist or the Owls. Now the Alehounds is made up of a bunch of different types of dwarves. Got cogs dwarves, woods dwarves, artisans, tunnelers even. None of them have any skill whatsoever in battle. And the Dirtbloods, as you may have guessed, are all Dirtbeards. Every single one of them. And they again have no skill in battle whatsoever. Now I'm just going to give them a second to see if they could find enough equipment to get themselves outfitted. Well, pretty close actually. I didn't think they'd have nearly enough. I have them outfitted, by the way, just as I do Moral's Fist and the Owls. Normally you'd give a militia a little less quality gear, but I want survivability on my side, damn it. Yeah, a few of the Dirtbeards don't even have warhammers. But at least the Alehounds are good to go. Now, as much as I'd love to have all hands on deck to get this whole cleanup thing over and done with, I think it's best if I get those guys skilled in fighting. And so how about we train them up in the upper barracks here? The legendary barracks of the first conquerors. And hopefully it doesn't take too long for them to get some skill. And I suppose while they're getting trained up, I should make sure there's enough equipment to go around. I have a few iron bars left, but not many. Where the hell did I get all the iron from at the beginning? I know I wasn't melting stuff right off the bat. What the hell kind of dwarf am I? Always forgetting what kind of ores give what. I didn't realize you could select the ore and see what metals it gives you. I'm the dumbest person. Like actually though, I mean come on. Now YouTube, it would seem there are a few veins of hematite up above the old fortress level here. And seeing as how we're not going to be up here anymore, I might as well just mine out these walls, huh? Bunch of bauxite too. I should probably take this out of here and do something with that as well. Now my intention is to have these guys be kind of like the backup army. I'm going to have them well trained and equipped, but they're also going to have normal jobs on top of this stuff. Whereas the professional army has no other job. Their only job is to be in the army. And they'll just be training up here for now while we get some equipment ready for them. Now then, on top of this cleanup, there's a couple other things that have been bothering me. These smoking artifacts here. I'd love to reclaim those things, but it seems my dwarves just have no interest in taking them down to the lower fortress because they are constantly smoking, which I intend to remedy. Now, I'm not sure if it will work. I have to assume it will, though. But I'm going to build a staircase right here, up into the ceiling above these artifacts, then make little holes right above those artifacts, through which I'll have my dwarves pour buckets of water. And hopefully that'll put them out. I mean, I have no reason to think that it won't. And there we have it. The extinguishing tunnels are complete. Gonna set up a couple of ponds here, just like that. And let's see what happens. Alright, looks like Moral the Crocodile has a full bucket and he's headed up there. Oh, I think somebody may have done it already. Yeah, somebody already dumped some water down on one of the artifacts. There's steam all over the place. Here goes Moral with the next bucket, which he dumped down. And, well, I see some steam. I'm not sure if it's still smoking, though. I don't know. It certainly doesn't look like it's working. Still got a ton of smoke here. I'm not sure what we could do other than that. Although, it does look like the smoke is clearing. Weird. It looks like it worked. Well, that's awesome. Well, let's get rid of these ponds. Perfect. I'll have to note that for the future. Well, YouTube, you've probably noticed that I still have a bunch of stuff up in this old fortress level. A lot of lumber, slabs, cages. And I think it's about time we get that down to the lower fortress level, over here. Now, this is going to be the Artisan district. Wood, cloth, what have you. And I plan to have it look sort of like the north area when it's done. So I'm going to start carving that out and we'll see where that takes us. And there we have it. Pretty much identical to the northern area. And I even planned out a ton of room for workshops. This level here, one level above the main floor, will be the clothier area, with workshops for weaving, making cloth, thread, that sort of stuff. Maybe one of these rooms will be a farm area for pigtail fiber. Then up above that we have rooms for storage. A whole lot of room for storage too. I don't have something in mind for each of these rooms yet, but I'm sure we'll need the space. And then 2 additional Z levels above just to give us some breathing space. And you can see I have these columns here planned out as well, with channels around them leading all the way from the ceiling down to the bottom floor. Through the carpenter area, which is below the main floor, with workshops for carpenters, craft dwarves, asheries, and then the bottom floor is going to be for lumber. I figured that should be pretty spacious because we're going to go through a ton of it. And we're just going to start working on this very slowly as kind of a side project at the moment. My dwarves still have a ton to clean up top, so this could potentially take quite some time. But no rush, we got it. Right, YouTube? Not a problem. Tassid Bakustmarol, the Knucklehammer, has created Akmamdal Istikstorlu, a microcline statue of Shorast Fateboot. A statue, huh? I think that's our first artifact statue. Sink Greed, the Shriveled Dimples. Oh boy, it's gonna be a good one. Blah blah blah. Image of Shorast Fateboot the dwarf and dwarves in microcline. She is surrounded by the dwarves. It relates to the ascension of Shorast to the position of Queen of the Foggy Books in the year 66. It is encrusted with round microcline capicons, studded with copper, decorated with tunnel tube, and encircled with bands of dog leather, tower cap, and tunnel tube. This object menaces with spikes of cinnamon grossular. On the item is an image of mountain gnomes in microcline. That's pretty cool. On the item is an image of grasping flights, the apple wood amulet, and beak dog bone. Also pretty cool. So we have a statue of one of the Foggy Book's historic queens. Pretty neat. Now throw it in the pile and get back to work. And by your grace, you bring balance to the multiverse. And in our unbalanced lives, we as your pawns in this mortal sphere, bring balance to your name, Great Ital. And so your work shall be done by the balanced beard. YouTube, I have communed with the Great Ital and have unlocked the secrets to his strange messages. He's been reaching out to us here in Delersholid, and it took me this long to realize it. We are in the age of goblins, YouTube. And Ital, as the god of balance, needs us to bring balance to this world. It's so obvious. It's incredibly unbalanced. There's clearly more goblins than dwarves. He reached out to Delersholid because he needs balance. It could mean nothing else. It is now our holy duty to bring balance to this world by slaying as many filthy goblins as we possibly can. All shall be balanced by the great balanced beard. You know, maybe we should make some sort of a statue or some sort of a bigger shrine for Ital out here. Those goblins have to know we're serious. Despite the heaps of bloodied carcasses, I still don't think they get that. We are serious. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna balance this damn world out. 'Cause we're Delersholid, damn it. All shall be balanced by the great balanced beard. YouTube, I'm noticing that the Hand of Delersholid, Adam, has not been doing her managerial duties very well. I've had these things set to be validated for some time and she still has not done it. I'm starting to be concerned that her scholarly duties are too much in addition to this. So then, I'm thinking maybe we should have a different scholar in the fortress. Which is kind of a shame because, I mean, she did write a book already. That's kind of what we were waiting for, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So let's see. Different scholar. Who should be a scholar? Who wants to write a book? I suppose whoever ends up being the scholar should just be a scholar and then that's it. How about one of the doctor's assistants? I don't think we need this many assistants. I have 5 medical dwarves, and I really think we don't need that many. How about this guy, Aiden? Well, she has an active imagination and is quite ambitious. She's also moved by art and natural beauty. I think those are some pretty good traits. She doesn't seek out excitement and she likes to take it easy. Yeah, it looks like she's perfect as a scholar. Okay, Aiden, you're no longer a doctor's assistant, and you will be the fortress scholar. And you are finally free to resume your duties, Lucky. I'm sure Shem will miss you. Which he is still here, by the way. Oh, he just disappeared somewhere. But Shem seems to spend most of his time in the library now. Very interesting. Yet another artifact. Ral, Bruiser, Enolalath, the Owlhammer, has created Aractobul Lalanist, a microcline weapon rack. That sounds fairly mundane. Let's take a look. Shaft's Canyons, the blankets of igniting. Oh my. Blah blah blah. It is encrusted with tapered baguette-cut picture jaspers, decorated with goblin bone, awesome, and sheep wool, and encircled with bands of cushioned microcline capicons, giant raccoon leather, and copper. This object is adorned with hanging rings of giant armadillo leather and menaces with spikes of microcline and resin opal. On the item is an image of a horse in microcline. The horse is withering away. The artwork relates to the passing of a horse in the Scabrous Prairies in the late spring of 1023. Why? YouTube? It should be noted too that this horse died in 1023, which is only a couple years ago. This image is completely unrelated to those other dead horses we've seen on artifacts. I don't know, man. Well, pretty neat. Throw it in the pile and get back to work. Alright, YouTube, looks like one of the Iron Tamers is taken by a fey mood. I'm gonna keep an eye on him. It says he's a skilled weaponsmith, so I'm hoping for another artifact weapon. But this time I'm gonna go ahead and look at our stocks. Specifically at the metal bars that we currently have. And I'm going to forbid a bunch of them. I'm going to forbid the iron bars, gold bars, copper, everything. Everything except for silver. I kind of want a silver artifact weapon. I think that'd be kind of cool. Assuming that is what he makes. Let's see what happens. We'll let him do his thing and I'll get back in a second. Now then, let's take a look around the place. I've done a little work on these temples here. I got all that extra rock all cleaned out. The temple to Kikrost now has some more pillars around the outside there, and a couple 2 Z-level tall pillars right in the middle of the area, next to the statue, giving it more of a architectural appearance. I figure as the god of fortresses, that'll be kind of nice. Then up here, the temple to Tomud, the god of war. I put a few statues down on either side of the room. They're stone statues of battle axes, spears, maces, all that sort of stuff. You can see I did another ring of copper around the floor there. And I think that's going to finish that one up. Up to the north in the mason and blacksmith area, I made another stockpile for stones and metals underneath here. And that's being filled as we speak. I made a little room over here for a siege workshop. And a bunch more rooms up here for various workshops. Down to the south, we already have a bunch of rooms carved out and ready. Stockpile rooms here. Bunch of rooms here for workshops. Those are already in place. These are clothier workshops, leather worker places, dyer workshops, that sort of stuff. Underneath, we have carpenter workshops, a couple of bowyer places, all wood-related workshops. And then down at the bottom, we have the lumber stockpile, all dug out. It's got to be smooth still, but it's getting there. If you take a look up top, you can see we've finally just finished cleaning up all that siege crap. So that's all taken care of now. I've got 11 idlers, which is something I haven't seen for almost an entire year now, I think. Which is good. We can start doing something else now, maybe like finishing these walls or something. Oh, and if you take a look up here, I still have my squads training. Alehounds and the Dirt Bloods. And they're all skilled hammer dwarves now. Or at least almost skilled. Yeah, we got proficient, skilled, competent. Not bad, guys, not bad. I'm just gonna keep them training for now. Probably till the next siege comes anyways. And other than that, I'd say we're looking pretty god darn good. I think I'm gonna put a temple here on the main floor of the Artisan area. As well as up here, in the Mason and Iron Tamer area. But temples to who? I'm not too sure yet. Ah, darn it. Not a weapon. But we have another artifact. Cogtesh Cadlogem, the Iron Tamer, has created Migrubincel, a giant silver axe blade. That still sounds pretty badass though. The Oceanic Gang. Got a bunch of winning names this time around. Blah blah blah. Encircled with bands of dog leather, sheep wool, and llama leather. This object menaces with spikes of silver and nice. On the item is an image of blue sharks and cave spider silk. Pretty badass. There's an image of Adil Sackslipped the dwarf, and dwarves in llama leather. Miss Sackslipped is surrounded by the dwarves. The artwork relates to the ascension of the dwarf Adil Sackslipped to the position of Queen of the Foggy Books in 74. And just to round it off, there's an image of an emu in Almandine on it. How majestic. Oh my, they just get better and better, don't they? Well, Throw it in the pile and get back to work. Another artifact here. Einod the Humble and Amkogan, the Tunneler, has created Gath-Tithal Rasakalad, a slate throne. Past play, the sliver of day. It is decorated with pigtail and encircled with bands of round slate cabicons, gold, and dwarf bone. Awesome. Dude, that's killer. This object menaces with spikes of sheep wool, not so killer, and ruby, which is cool. On the item is an image of clouds in slate. On the item is an image of a bonobo in copper, a type of ape, similar to a chimp. On the item is an image of baguette cut gems in gold. Boy, these things are really out there, huh? Well, throw it in the pile and get back to work. Quite a bit of time has gone by, YouTube. It is midsummer in the year 1028. I think the last time I talked it was the end of last winter. The dwarves have just been straightening out the stockpiles, dumping away a bunch of unusable items like clothes, which we've collected quite a bit of. And that is taking forever, and they still have a ton to do with that. Getting a new wood stockpile all filled up, that's taking a bit as well. So I just keep looking around the place for things to do, YouTube, and I noticed a little problem down here near the naturalist's quarters. If you see in these two pen areas here, dogs and pigs, they keep on multiplying, and we have a ridiculous amount of both at this point. And they keep fighting in here too. I see some dog blood splattered on the walls in that one room. Now I'm just trying to think of something to do with all these guys. We could butcher them, but that's kind of a pain in the ass. What with the whole skin coming back to life thing. We could train them in war, but war dogs aren't really that effective against goblins, especially when you have a North Hall or a water trap like we do. And pigs you can't even train as war pigs, which would be pretty awesome, but that's not even an option with those guys. So I've actually come up with a little plan, which will be outlined shortly. It shouldn't be long before those goblins come back, and I don't think it's going to be in place before they do get here, but we'll see what happens. Up top, you can see I finished up the second Z level in most places of the wall. Not too exciting, but it's getting there. And the old fort level is now almost completely empty. The only things we have up here now are a couple of offices in the old hospital, and we really have to build a new hospital. I mean, look at this thing. Down in the mines. We've never had a proper hospital here in Delersholid. Not that we've needed it, but with a nice lower fortress like this, we have to make sure to get a proper hospital at some point. But for now, back to cleaning. Well, looky here, YouTube. Looks like we got a new mayor. Rimtar Tatarush, the Cogsdwarf. And he's already made a mandate. Low boots, just one. That's not bad. Let's take a look at this guy. I learned about dodging. The wonder. Rimtar touch handle. Oh, lady dwarf. Seems like a fairly standard dwarven mindset. Celebrates talented artisans. Great deal of respect for the law. Believes that honesty is a high ideal. Respects those that take the time to master a skill. Well, just don't mandate anything ridiculous and we'll get along absolutely fine, Miss Touch Handle. And before I forget, I'm going to take a look back at the old mare. Zuglar. There we are. Zuglar's Steel Throne, the one with the mangled arms. I'm going to give you a nickname. That was a mare that didn't care a lick about what others thought of her. She was kind of rough around the edges, right? Zuglar Firebelly. Doesn't care what others think about her, just kind of rough. And she has mangled arms. Rakust One Ear Aslanvukrig the Owlhammer has created Thad Etvuth, a slate table. The Crowd of Scandal. It is encrusted with cushioned slate cabicons and encircled with bands of cushioned slate cabicons and glumprong. This object menaces with spikes of dwarf bone, glumprong, chrysoberyl, and pearwood. There's an image of the Cyclops in our stockpile striking down a human, an image of a smooth pebble in glumprong, very strange, and an image of laboring dwarves in dog leather relating to the foundation of Delersholid. Very cool. Throw it in the pile and get back to work. Dwarves are still at work, getting all our stocks together, throwing out tattered clothing. It's taking a long time. We have a small farm plot area here in the Artisan quarter now, for pigtails and dimple cups. And I have expanded the mines a little bit. Another large mine area here for iron. Not that we need it badly. And the dwarves have just begun digging out the new animal chamber. It's going to be a good one, YouTube. I'm excited. Alright, YouTube, the new animal pen is all set here. You can see I've got some nice bridges in place here. That'll make it work perfectly, I think. And the top level is looking pretty nice as well. We're going to get that underway soon. And if the goblins hold off for a little bit more, it should be all set. Moses Sacrithunib, the tunneler, has created Ecasnum Illyribacust, a slate coffer. Safety Windy, the joyous urges. Oh my god, with these artifacts. All the artifacts in this episode have been so freaking detailed, it's ridiculous. Anyways, it is encrusted with cushioned slate cabicons, decorated with ginkgo wood and llama wool, and encircled with bands of rectangular slate cabicons, square-cut lapis lazulis, and rose-cut wood opals. This object is adorned with hanging rings of dog leather and applewood, and menaces with spikes of slate and dwarf bone. Kill me! There's so much crap hanging off this thing, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like each of these dwarves is trying to outdo the last with how much crap they could fit onto one of these things. On the item is an image of Moma's Earth crosses the dwarf and dwarves in copper. She's surrounded by the dwarves. The artwork relates to the ascension of the dwarf Moa's blah 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 in the year 20. I'm not sure how many queens exactly have ruled over the foggy books, but this is the 4th one that I know of. There's this one, the current one, and 2 others who have been on other artifacts during this episode. Kinda strange. Well, fantastic work. Fantastic. I love it. Now throw it in the pile and get back to work. Alrighty, YouTube, just finished up this animal pen here, and I'm just assigning some animals to it, and they will be brought here shortly, I think. It'll be good to have them spread out a bit. Man, we got a lot of these things too, huh? Well, it's probably good. We'll need a lot. Dogs and pigs. Yeah, put them both in here. Could use a good mix. There we are. Go ahead, pups and piggies. Find your new home. Oh, neato. We have another book. Soul's Gaunt, a giant Olm parchment quire, and the first book written by our new scholar. Let's take a look. This is a superior quality giant Olm parchment quire. Written on the item is a short story entitled Soul's Gaunt. Authored by Aiden Rocksunk. The work has no particular subject. The writing is somewhat showy overall. The prose is amateurish at best. No particular subject? It's a short story. About what? Just kind of rambling? Somewhat showy? That doesn't make any sense at all. Well, great. Our library is coming right along. Alright, YouTube. Looks like we got all those clothes straightened out. All the stockpiles are looking nice. So while we wait for those goblins to show up again, what should we do? You know, when those goblins do show up, we're going to have a lot of corpses to pick up, I think. So I think the next thing we should make is a proper refuse area. It should be linked up to this main area out here and to the inside of the fortress. So I'm thinking over here on the side, maybe. I'll tell you what, just before we link it up to the inner fortress, I'm going to build a bridge out front first, just to make sure we're nice and safe. I'd hate to be exposed to the goblins when they show up. Well, how's that right there? You can see I have that bridge placed, ready to be built. The layout's pretty screwy looking, but I figured we're just throwing corpses and shit in here, so who really cares? You can see I've got this little staircase here linking it up to this farm area. We'll keep it kind of innocuous. We don't want a corpse-filled hole to be shoved in our dwarves' faces all day long. Right, and I guess we'll make a little garbage smashing pit over on the side as well. And a little spot for a lever. There we go. Get to it, dwarves. There you go, YouTube. Our new refuse area. Plenty spacious. Got a few touches left to do on it, but it's pretty much there. Bridge is all linked up, nice and safe. And you'll never see it this clean again. I promise you. What now? What now? Well, you know, I was talking about a hospital earlier. We really should make one of those. Certainly couldn't hurt. And you know what? Stupid me. I only just realized we have no wells in this lower fortress. What a dummy. But first, look at that hospital squared away. How about between these 2 temples here? Got a nice big open space and nothing else to put here. Yeah, I think that'll be nice. There you have it, YouTube. That's going to be a layout for a hospital. I figured I'd have a bunch of little internal rooms there, each with a bed and table next to it, plus a large stockpile in the back for crutches, splints, that sort of stuff. And of course, it's going to be 2 Z levels high. Now for the well, I'm going to have to shut off the water in the fortress for just a little bit, just to be safe. I could wait till it freezes, but I prefer to be safe at this point. And we'll wait for the canals to drain, and we'll see about making that well. You know what, YouTube? I was just looking under the fortress, and there's really no great place for a well. And I've got all this underground crap going, and there's caves all over the damn place. It'd be a giant pain in the ass, really. But we can at least get a well to the hospital. But I don't think we even need to use our current water systems. If I dig straight down from the well here, down, 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 it'll connect up to this underground pond right here. And that'll take just a little bit of modification. No biggie. Hopefully. Plus, when I blocked up this water tunnel here, it started filling up the fortress cavern with water. I should probably fix that pretty quick. Jesus Christ, YouTube. Got another artifact here. Another slate coffer, mind you. Rith Lorbamalrol, the Owlhammer, has created Rith Lorbamalrol? A slate coffer. Dude, what? He named it after himself. Dude, that's weird. I've never seen that happen before. Can they do that? Alright, let's take a look. Rith Standard Page to Slate Coffer. Slate Coffer encrusted with briolette cut pink garnets and round alunite cabicons and decorated with dog bone and llama wool. This object menaces with spikes of beak dog leather and beak dog bone. Cool. On the item is an image of squares and slate. On the item is an image of Lulled the Burned, the iron greaves, and amethyst. Another slate coffer. That's going to be fun to draw. Getting sick of that, YouTube, I'll tell you. Very odd that he decided to name it after himself, like it has the same exact name that he does. I don't know. Well, good work. Now throw it in the pile and get back to work. Oh boy, YouTube. As I said before, I'm always doing stuff in the fort and it takes a while, so I'm always looking away. And when I look back just now, a couple of tunnelers are fighting. This guy was hit by a rock. This guy appears to have fallen. Looks like it had something to do with his well underneath the hospital here. Let's go take a look at him. Here they are, resting. One guy in bed already. Moral the tunneler, not our mare. Broken finger and a mangled leg. Great. In this one here, both of our hands are mangled. Fantastic. Well, at least you're still breathing. Rest it up, girls. I don't know how that happened. Oh well, at least it's all dug out now. Oh, well. Oh my. Well, here is the new well right here, all dug out. I was planning on smoothing it, but that might be kind of a pain in the ass. Well, it would definitely be a pain in the ass. So maybe not. I'm sure this is good enough. Kind of hard to explain the layout, but I have 4 wells up in the hospital right now. And I had to make sure to dig these tunnels in such a way that I can put a fortification down there and nothing can crawl into the hospital. No forgotten beasts or monsters or anything like that. And don't think I missed the irony that a couple dwarves had to go to the hospital while making a new hospital. And there you have it, YouTube, a brand new, nice, shiny hospital. Complete with beds, tables, traction benches, coffers, a stockpile for items, and it's 2 Z levels tall, at least in the main area. 4 functioning wells. You can see down underneath here. They are currently filled up with water and blocked off from the rest of the cavern, so they're completely safe. And yeah, looking good. So we got a hospital, we got a dump pile. What else are we gonna need? We're going to need a couple of offices. A couple of dwarves still have offices assigned up in the old fortress. And actually, we've got a little open space right here, so I guess I'll just throw them right here. Nothing too big and fancy this time. Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as dwarven office standards go, they are kind of big and fancy, but not ridiculously big and fancy. They'll get the job done. And that's not going to be a big thing or anything, those tiny little offices, so we should find something to do in the meantime as well. Still got a few minutes left in this episode and I don't want to waste it. Well, I think I mentioned last episode as a side project I was trying to get these minecarts up and going, and so I've slowly been building axles and gear assemblies all along the tracks to get one side of the minecarts working anyways. And we have finally finished up one entire track. I don't know if it'll work yet, but I think it will. Of course, I thought it would work originally without all this, so what do I know? Let's take a look here. Total power is 480. That's how much power we have currently, and it needs 820. So a good deal more than we currently have, and that's for half of it. We currently have 12 windmills going, and we're probably going to need at least 24 more. I'm not big on math, so excuse me if I'm wrong. At least 24. I was originally thinking of building another structure outside, similar to this windmill building here, just kind of like over in this corner or something, because I mean, we're not going to put anything else there that I could think of right now. So I suppose I could start planning something like that. I doubt it'll be done this episode, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Well, I thought this space would be big enough, but it looks like it's not. And this space up here, I was hoping to build something else in. Future plans, you know. So I was thinking maybe I should just make them coming out of the top of the wall. We have plenty of walls here. They're all 3 Z levels tall at this point. And I think it'd be pretty cool just to have some windmills sticking out of the top of them. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to start planning that. Alright, YouTube, you can see here I've made a bunch of little nooks in the outer wall, as well as some staircases, up-down staircases to lead upwards to where the windmills will eventually be, and downwards as well, underground to where the axles are going to lead. And this whole process is going to take quite some time, I'd imagine, because we're going to do it right, damn it. No sloppy work here in Delersholid. A little bit of poor planning on my part, YouTube, but I have these staircases leading up to the top of the wall now, and there's not enough room to put doors on there and make it look nice, so I'm just going to make the wall even wider than it was, 4 spaces wide. And I might even make it taller at some point as well, but it's going to look pretty jacked up for now. Whatever. And underneath you can see I already planned out a bunch of tunnels for the axles and stairways. They're a bit wider than they have to be at this point because I'm going to have to dig out all that dirt to replace it with stone. We don't want our dwarves going through dirt tunnels now. And down at the bottom is how they're all going to be linked up to the main axle system. It's getting there. Yet another artifact, YouTube. Kogan Thobas, the wood dwarf, has created Usad Bumal Gim Ibal, a pearwood statue of Einal Roughlancer's Bones Worry, the Twist of Reverences. Dude, this is a fucking awesome statue. A pearwood statue. The statue is an image of Einal Roughlancer's being struck down by a dwarf in the midsummer of 1012. It is encrusted with rose-cut citrines and encircled with bands of pearwood and radiant-cut yellow spessartines. This object is adorned with hanging rings of dog bone and menaces with spikes of blue peafowl leather and white opal. On the item is an image of Cadol Slaughterstaves the dwarf and the Worry of Gates the iron warhammer in rock crystal. It relates to the naming of that hammer by Cadol Slaughterstaves in the early autumn of 1026. And here's my favorite part. On the item is an image of Moral the crocodile and a goose in gold. Moral the crocodile is embracing the goose. Oh, Moral. I didn't know he was so fond of geese. I love it. Fantastic work. We'll have to make sure to display that somewhere nice. Or, you know, I guess we could throw it in the pile and get back to work. The dwarves are working very hard on these tunnels, but I guess I severely underestimated how long it would take. I mean, they've almost just now finished up the bottom Z levels with rock, but they still have several more layers. And you can see here too, if I look at these mechanisms, the whole thing's not even set up yet, and the total power needed is 922. It's increased quite a bit. We'll get it done eventually. No worries. I don't know where the hell those goblins are. I forget when they attacked last exactly, but currently it is 10:29 midwinter. It's been a few years anyways. Of course, our last attack was when they got all mulched up in this north hull here, so I guess I can't blame them for not coming back in a hurry. Those losers. Well, no matter. They can come when they want. They're not getting into Delersholid. I'm sure they'll be coming back eventually, and they're going to be pissed when they do. And oh boy, I cannot wait to try out this water trap. That's definitely what we're doing next. Oh, and they'll have to take a look at a new animal pen too. I'm sure they'll get a kick out of it. Anywho, YouTube, I believe we've reached the end of this episode. And what a productive episode it was. No sieges, no gore to pick up. Well, I guess there was some at the beginning. No new gore, so that's something. Got a couple kickin' new temples here, as well as a nice new hospital. The Artisan district is looking spectacular. Lumber stockpile is nice and full. And I believe at this point every workshop in the fortress is down in the lower fortress here. We currently have nothing important left up in the old fortress level. It's just a husk of what it once was. Maybe we'll do something up here in the future. It's kind of a shame just to leave the place here. It was our home for so many years. You can see on the bottom of the screen there it says the fortress attracted no migrants this season. It has said that many, many times this episode. And I'm actually fairly confident at this point that our civilization is pretty much dead. One of the last bastions of dwarven kind in this world. We must stand against those goblins. We can never fall. So saith I tell by your great balanced beard. Your command is my will. In next episode, I plan to do some serious work on these windmills. We're finally going to see whether or not those minecarts will work. That's the hope anyways. I don't want to get my hopes too far up though, because plans seem to change around here. Wait, I'll tell you what, screw that. That's boring as hell. I'm sick of building stuff for now, YouTube. I want some excitement, damn it. If those goblins don't attack right off the bat next episode, then we have to do something. And you know, I'm thinking these tunnels need to be cleared out a little bit. There are tunnels and there's zombies all over the damn place in there. And here's our goal, Zombie Monster Island. Currently home to multitude undead monstrosities as well as a couple of forgotten beast corpses. Yeah, it's a mess. And if you remember, a few episodes ago we dug a tunnel right up underneath it, right here. And at this point we have to just carve away one tiny little piece and we'll be fully exposed to that mess. Yeah, this should be fun. That's what we're doing next episode, YouTube. Be excited. I'm excited. And as we're wrapping up here, I'd like to remind you to comment because I love that shit. And if you get some sort of Delersholid based artwork to me, I'll make sure to feature it in next episode. Plus you'd be a totally killer rock star. And I'd love you. Well, until next time, YouTube.